Hi, you guys. In today's video, I'm going to talk about something that I've been asked multiple times lately by students and figured where there's a few, there's probably many. And that is about submitting for prototypes, how to know when you're ready to submit for prototypes, what you should be doing if you're going to want to submit for prototypes. So I'll just go over very, very quickly for anyone who doesn't know what a prototype is. When a sculptor first creates a reborn baby, they sculpt it out of clay. They then send that clay baby off to a factory to have it produced. They do not just produce like 1,000, 2,000 of them right away. They make a few at first, and those are called prototypes. They send those off to the sculptor. The sculptor looks them over, and as long as they look good, they don't see any issues, they send them off to whoever they've chosen to create these prototypes. The prototype artist will paint the baby, root it, take professional quality photos, and turn those in. And those will get distributed to all of the retailers so that when they make their order from the factory for the thousands of sculpts or less if it's a smaller edition, those photos are used on the sales pages to sell that actual kit when it becomes available to the public. And there are a couple different ways that you can get prototypes. The first one is submitting for prototype opportunities. A lot of sculptors will post when they are going to be looking for prototype artists, and artists will submit a photo of their work. And the sculptor will go through all the submissions and pick who they want to do artists, or who they want to be their prototype artists. Another one is, which is very common, is having your work speak for itself. I can't talk today, sorry. So you're just going along your normal life. You are, your skill level's amazing. You're taking amazing photos. You're posting them all over. And then one day you'll just get an email from some sculptor that you recognize their name, hopefully, and be super excited. And they'll say, hey, I've been following your work. I have a new sculpt coming out, and I would love for you to create a prototype for me. And you will be over the freaking moon if that happens to you, trust me. So there's a couple of things that are important. I'm going to talk about time-wise first, like how to know when you're ready. There is no magic number, but I will say on average, most artists start submitting after they've been reborning regularly for about 3 years. And when I say regular, I just mean on a regular basis. You don't have to be a full-time reborn artist where this is your business, but you need to be probably creating a reborn every couple months, every few months at the other end of that spectrum. So you want to be making at least 6 reborns a year on a consistent basis for a few years before you want to submit. There's a few reasons for that. The first one I'm going to talk about is a community reason, you wanting to be in good standing in the community. You have to pay your dues, basically. I actually saw this come up fairly recently, and it was kind of cringeworthy, I guess. But there's a brand new artist. She has been reborning for a very, very short amount of time. I think about 3 to 6 months, and she's decent. She has good quality of work. But she just started and happens to be a natural talent. One of the sculptors was looking for a prototype artist, and this artist went ahead and submitted. And I cannot even tell you the uproar that came with that. Experienced artists were super upset about it, that this person just came onto the scene, that, they've only painted a couple babies and they are trying to submit for prototypes already when they haven't paid their dues yet. You might not think that those relationships are important, but they're really important. You want to really kind of, you don't want to have to walk on eggshells, but you want to be respectful of the community as a whole and other artists. Nothing can ruin your career faster than messing up your relationship with the community. So that is something that you really want to pay attention to. Obviously, more important than time is your skill level. I know some people that have been painting for 3 years that are absolutely amazing. Others have been painting for 10 years and they still have a lot of room to improve. One thing that I did before I started submitting for prototypes, and I don't know if I recommend this or not, but I used to do it. I still do it sometimes just to kind of see where I'm at and where I want to go. If you're not sure if your quality of work is good enough, I really recommend that you go on one of the major retailer sites, like McPherson's, Trueborn's, Irresistible, Stalls by Sandy. You go on these places and just look through random kits and look at their prototype photos, download a couple, do a side by side with your work, and see, is your work at prototype skill level yet? If it's not, what stands out to you? What areas do you really need to improve to get there? And then you'll want to definitely start working on those things if you know that prototypes are in your future. Another big thing that I've also seen in the community are people who have gotten prototypes kind of randomly. I know one artist years ago used to do a random drawing for prototype artists. And I know two of these artists who got prototypes that way, and they are horrified because that was several years ago. Their skill level is very good now, but those prototype photos are forever. So every time someone looks at that kit, they see a lower quality of work. And so that is something to think about. It's going to be there forever. The entire reborn world is going to see it. The sculptor is going to see it. You want to make sure that you are at a really amazing skill level before you start submitting and trying to get prototypes. Another thing again is just focusing on your skill level. You need to be at a high skill level with your painting, with rooting, with any repairs. And you also need to be confident and comfortable giving feedback. You are the first line. I know we talk a lot about lately, all of these kits with issues. You need to be comfortable where if you get sent a prototype kit and it has vinyl issues, that you feel comfortable telling the sculptor, this is messed up. This here isn't, if there's something wrong with the kit, you need to tell the sculptor. If you don't tell the sculptor, they'll assume that they painted just fine. They will get more of them. And then everyone has to deal with messed up kits. So that's one thing. I already said repairs. Your photos need to be great. That's something I'm currently working on right now. But you want to make sure you're taking really great quality photos. You can look at other prototype babies, like I had said before, for your skill level, and just take a look at the photos. You need to also know that you can work on a deadline. Prototypes are usually a shorter deadline. Generally, they're about 4 weeks. So you need to know that you are 100% going to be able to have that baby painted and completely rooted and photographed and photos submitted in 4 weeks. Prototypes aren't for everybody. They are very, very stressful with these time frames, and God forbid you have an issue that pops up. So you need to know that you can work fast at a high skill level and address any potential issues that come up and communicate clearly. This isn't a necessity, but it's important. I know I talked about this in my logos and branding video. You want to make sure that your business name is, good. It's what you're going to want to keep. You want to make sure that your logo is professional. It fits with the brand of a sculptor. That it the whole picture. People are going to see these pictures forever. If you're unsure about your business name or your logo, change them before you start submitting for prototypes. There's a lot of things that are important, and I got some of this information from a few sculptors that I know, things that they really look for. Okay, this is a list. I'm just gonna kind of read it out and talk a little bit, straight from sculptors. The number one most important thing is skill level. Your job as a prototype artist is to make that kit look amazing, to look realistic, so that people want to buy it. So skill level is number one. Number two is how long you've been established and the following that you have in the community. If you have only like 500 followers on Facebook or 1,000, 2,000, you might not be ready to do that, or you might not get chosen. It's really important for sculptors to pick people that have a large following. Some of you, if you have not done prototypes, you might not know this, but there is a lot more that goes into doing a prototype than just painting it, rooting it, and taking photos. You also have to promote it. You have to post it a lot on your social media pages. You need to, like, to build up before the release. When it's released, you need to keep posting it. This is where you can get it. This is when you can get it. All of this kind of stuff. So the number of people that you're able to reach is very important to sculptors. If they have two people who paint the exact same level, and you have 3,000 followers, this other person has 10,000, they will go with the person that has 10,000. Again, this is just in general. There are a couple like distributors who do things differently. I know Bobby from Trueborns, she really wants to like lift people up. She'll pick people who don't have a huge following and stuff just to give them the opportunity. But the info I have is coming from sculptors directly. Another huge one is their reputation in the community. And I think I touched a little bit on that when I was talking about paying your dues and stuff. They want to know that you're liked by your fellow artists, that customers do not have issues with you, that you have a good reputation in general. It's really important to them that you've never painted or sold a fake kit. So if you have, you don't want to publicize that or post that anywhere, and you want to stop doing it immediately. But the reputation in the community is really, really important. They want to know that you're going to be easy to work with, that you're going to meet your deadlines, and that people aren't going to boycott their sculpt because they saw that you painted it. So you don't want to be a troublemaker. You want to respect your other artists. You want to build relationships with other artists and, the Reborn community in general. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. That was it for the sculptors list. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. If you have been painting longer than 3 years, your skill level is fantastic. You are mono rooting, you are doing a real great job. Your rooting looks amazing, your painting looks amazing. You can zoom in on your parts that you've painted and they look good, not just from far away. You've really established yourself as a brand and a business, built up a following, you get along good with other artists, and you have a history. You are never late on customs. You know that you can finish a baby in 4 days. Maybe you do some practice runs. I mean, not 4 days, 4 weeks. Maybe you do some practice runs. And I would recommend, follow sculptors and comment on their stuff, get to know them, start building these relationships, and really focus on your skill level. The best thing that I've ever heard from someone when asked for advice on being able to do prototypes was to treat every single baby like a prototype If you do that with your work and your photography and your marketing as you're posting and promoting, sculptors will notice you. You won't have to submit. You will get a message from them asking you to do one of their prototypes. They take notice of things like that. So if you want to do a prototype, just keep treating every baby like it is, and eventually one will be one. All right, you guys, I hope that was a little bit helpful. If you have any questions, comment and I'll answer. I feel like I missed something, but I don't know what it was. And I will see you in the next one.